Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Rooster Teeth Podcast. This week brought to you by Spy and Trunk Club.
Hey.
A movie. Wow. We're big time now. And Trunk Club. But anyway, I felt like that was disparaging towards our other sponsor, Trunk Club, provider of fine shirts. I think I got this shirt from Trunk Club. I did, actually. So we'll talk about that later. How you doing? How you doing, guys?
Good.
We got, this week we got Gus.
Blaine.
Aaron.
Chris.
Gus, well, you did much better this week, Blaine.
I was very scared. Last week I was like, my name is Max. And then Gus was like, I will fucking kill you.
I just stared at Blaine.
Yeah, I was like, I messed up.
I can't do anything to physically intimidate him. I can just be upset and disappointed.
Put him in a mask next time. Next podcast, he's just there in a metal mask like, I'm Blaine, or I'm Max, or
People didn't know
whatever he
me
says.
until I wore the mask. Wait, he wore a
Yeah,
mask
I know.
in his Bane.
Yep.
He should have done the voice.
Did you ever feel like during Mad Max that have you seen it? I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay. Did you ever feel like that Blaine voice was coming out of Tom Hardy's mouth? Like, was it confusing at all for you?
No, the Bane voice? you
Yeah.
mean? No, I don't know what he was going for, though, because Mad Max is Australian, but he cannot have this, American, gruff. He was like a Batman voice, if anything.
There's a lot of grunting.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's still a good movie.
You know who had the Bane voice was the main dude, the main villain guy.
That I was, yeah, I definitely.
Didn't he? He's like,
Morton Joe.
oh, get them in the car. And it's like, yeah, it sounds like Bane.
The villain from Mad Max Fury Road reminds me of my little dog Oswald. he's got like that flowing fur off to the side.
Metals on
That
the
makes
side.
him less
and-
intimidating, I assume.
For Halloween, I want to get him like a little mask or something he can put on his face.
He lays on top of you. This is my property.
little plastic vest and stuff.
It's so gross. Yeah.
Was it Oswald or Benjamin that was in $1 Million?
It's Benjamin.
Benjamin. Sorry. Forgive me.
Benjamin wears the monocle.
It looks like he's a giraffe, though, in that. His neck is
He looks
so
fin-
tall.
neck
His
is
neck
so,
is
like-
huge in that.
Yeah.
He's a very long dog. It's weird to think, like, whenever I look at those two dogs in particular, it's weird to think that at some point in their history, there were wolves that eventually led to this.
I say
Yeah.
that all the time with dogs, because you look at all these weird things and you're like, you were a wolf at some point. How are you this now? How are your eyes like that pug? Penny the pug is a lovely dog, right? But
Best dog
she
ever.
came from a wolf. And that is like something a wolf would eat, you
Right.
know?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
you put
without
a-
hesitation.
You put a pug outside, and like it doesn't last 8 hours, right?
No,
like, there's
no.
no way.
An owl would pick up a pug or something, just
That'd be
fly
pretty
away
funny.
with Penny.
My
Yeah.
parents own Maltese, and they're these tiny little dogs, and they have the exact bone structure of a wolf, just scaled down. So yeah, it's weird. That's what They're so fluffy and cute. I love playing with them.
They're so fluffy.
So
Yeah, it's I get nervous sometimes. Like when I first moved into my new place last summer, one morning I let my dogs out, and the little one, Oswald, the Mad Max villain, he like ran out into the front yard, then immediately like crouched down really low, and I was like, that's weird. What's he doing? So I stepped out into the yard, and there was a giant hawk, right next to us on a little balcony, just like looking down at him. And I was like, oh, well, that's why.
That could eat him.
Right,
Like,
yeah.
that could really eat him. That could be like that'd be sad.
It might be like the biggest hawk I've ever seen. It took off eventually, but it probably had like a 5 or 6 feet wingspan.
God
How
damn.
much do you think a hawk like that can pick up?
I don't know.
Weight-wise? Because, I mean,
At least a rabbit.
a rabbit, yeah. So, 10 pounds or something like that.
Yeah.
But
That's about
you don't think like a bird like that could, because birds themselves are so light because, they fly and all that. But, I mean.
An infant?
Yeah, an infant, possibly.
I'm serious. I'm
Almost
sure
got
it's
a spit
happened.
take out of
I'm
Gus.
just saying.
It's like they came out of nowhere,
Well,
like a newborn, maybe. Well, that's probably why they keep newborns inside.
There's just hawks outside the emergency room or the infant ward, and they're just like,
God damn it! Who brought the hawks to the hospital? What were we
a hawk
thinking?
above every bed.
Put the falconry right next door to the neonatal ward.
Jerry.
Cost-cutting measures.
Speaking of Penny, she was at our softball game, or the kickball game. Probably the best part of that game. Other than that, we got our asses
So
kicked.
I do want to update all of the viewers and listeners to who actually was the first person injured. It wasn't Brandon. It was Mariel sitting in the control room.
Ooh, yeah.
Marielle, you should have kept your mouth shut. I was going to take the blame. I was icing my foot last night. Because
Would you kick Mariel?
she couldn't keep her mouth shut. She has that giant bandage on her knee.
Yeah.
Oh.
She didn't realize how heavy the ball was and kicked it and immediately fell over.
No. Oh. Ugh. That is pretty
That's the
embarrassing.
complaints I've heard. Is just the ball was big.
Yeah.
And
They
heavy.
were fucking massive. They're like small yoga balls. They're like medicine balls.
Yeah, is that normal for kickball league? I don't understand.
I don't think so.
I think, well, Brandon went into it thinking we were going to be kicking with the smaller ones because his girlfriend, Paula, plays kickball, and she's been in a league before, and they use the regular ones. And we showed up, and they had these fucking boulders, and we're like, what the hell? You know, like, I kicked it, and I kicked it far, but it's so big, and it just floated for so long that there was, like, 3 people in the outfield that were just like, boom.
Boink.
Yeah. And I was like, well, I'm out.
Brandon said you couldn't even do pop flies, really, because it was such a big ball that it was just you just kind of kicked it and broke your foot and ran or whatever.
Basically, yeah, you hobbled to the first base. But we got fucking wrecked.
What was the score?
He's like, what was it, 12-0? 11-0? Tyler almost murdered a woman, or the guy in broadcast. Like, he knew his shit. He's played baseball. He fucking wrecked it.
I heard he was the hawk and she was the little dog.
Yes.
Oh.
Very much so.
He was running after someone to throw the kickball at her, and she just fell into the fetal position.
It got
swoop down.
It's getting to the point now where it's like I showed up and I was like, all right, you know, let's meet some girls and stuff. And there was a team that had played before, and they had a cute girl on their team. So I started going and talking to her, you know, or going and talking to the group, and then she came up to me, and I worked my way over, and then it's like, Blind, you're up to bat. And then like I had to turn around and I was like, it's a social club. Like I'm socially socializing. And then we played, and I got beat, and she left, and I was like, I don't want to be here anymore.
Join kickball for the women.
Well, you'll probably end up playing against her, right?
Hopefully, you know, we'll see how that goes. But
Kick some balls around.
it just sucked. There was too many cooks in the kitchen. Like a lot of people were trying to coach, and nobody had fun. I
Coach
think
your dating
ultimately.
game or the actual kickball game?
Blaine, all right, go now, go
Blaine,
now.
just go. Leave.
First base, third.
Third. Back to first.
Swipe right. So how did you hurt your ankle?
Oh, I was just kicking that fucking ball. It's massive. It's like I go into it toe first instead of like I guess you're supposed to hit it with the side.
Yeah, like soccer.
Yeah, well, I went into it like power kick and just blew my fucking foot. So now whenever I drive, I'm like, it's either flooring it or easing off the brake.
Well, you drive
ever
that.
tried-
Well, go ahead.
Change your shoes while you're driving. You ever do that? It's hard
It's very
because you're having.
What are you guys doing?
And
here?
illegal.
Why can't you change your shoes once you stop? Once you get where you're going?
I got things
Well,
to do.
but it's like it's getting on stuff, getting moving.
You're talking to the guy who wants autonomous cars, and I'm guessing so he can change his shoes in traffic
Well,
now.
he could just take his shoes off.
Yeah.
The robot car never complains about the smell.
No,
Yeah,
he doesn't.
no,
No,
it
he
doesn't.
doesn't.
Even if the passengers do.
What's the dumbest thing you've done while driving?
I'm just saying I've done.
Well, there's
Yeah, probably something sexual.
yeah, I was gonna say let Aaron take that one.
Not let me take it. I just suggested.
I didn't want to say it because everyone would expect me to say it, so I'll just let
Oh.
you take that one.
Well, yeah. I mean, you know, you get fooling around in a car. It'll be easier when it's autonomous because then you
way
won't have to
easier.
shift and like, you know,
Well, I don't even do shifting.
what?
Like I don't have a. I
You
do
don't have a
automatic.
stick to whenever you're. Yeah.
Yeah.
You have an automatic.
Yes, I do.
I think I've told the story in the podcast before, but the dumbest thing I ever did was I used to have a standard transmission, a little manual pickup truck, and a friend of mine came over to visit me from out of town, and we stayed up late, and then the next morning we were going to go to Houston and visit another friend, and I woke up the next morning, I was really tired, really hungover, and I asked my friend who was visiting, like, hey, can you drive a standard? He goes, no, sorry, I can't. So I start driving from Austin to Houston, then partway down the road, I'm like, are you sure you can't drive a standard? Because I'm going to fall asleep here. He's like, I can't. I say, I'll tell you what. Once we get going on the highway, once we're on 71, I'm just going to close my eyes. Like, I'll just keep my foot on the accelerator. You just reach over and steer, and we'll be fine. He was like, yeah, sure, whatever. I put my head down, start sleeping.
God.
And then I think, I should check on this. And I open my eyes and I look at him, and he's asleep also, with his hand just reached over on the wheel. And I was like, what the fuck are you doing? But of
I'm the
course,
responsible one here.
I'm doing my job. We're doing what we agreed on. And of course, that only woke me up for like 3 minutes. And of course, I'm like, oh, I'm really sleepy again.
You're essentially a cement block on an accelerator pedal is what you were. You're like,
Yeah. Luckily, the highway was very straight at that stretch. I can't believe I'm not dead. Like that there's almost no scenario where that story ends well.
How'd you make it through that trip? What did you stop and like take a rest, or did you get some water? Like, how'd you did you drive all the way?
I just drove. I just
Jesus
started
Christ.
slapping myself.
Yeah,
I do that.
slapping.
I pulled chest hair when I have it. I'm
pull
shaved
chest
right now.
hair.
Oh yeah, that wakes me right up.
Yeah, you get strange little patches. You're
Or
like,
nose
oh, I was
hair?
really tired.
Your
so-
little nose hair?
No.
Yeah, it hurts.
Oh.
It'll wake you up.
Yeah,
Nice
no,
and good.
I've done that actually. Nose hair, because you want them out anyway.
Just turn the AC up all the way so it's freezing, and then you have to stay awake.
That doesn't do it for me.
My
That just
truck
makes
didn't
me
have
sick.
AC. Like my truck had no AC, no radio, no nothing.
So it was like a blanket. The air was like blankets.
Yeah.
It was like,
So I'm going to go on a tangent here. One of you mentioned plucking nose hairs.
Yeah.
I've got a guilty admission to make. The other week I got a nose hair trimmer
Oh.
because I was like, oh, I got some nose hairs that come out and they look kind of gross. I was like, all right, I'm gonna be good about this. I'm gonna trim my nose hairs. So I'd never used one before. So it's just like looks like a little nub, right? Like a little circle, and it's got like something whirring in it, and you like stick it in your nose and it trims the hair. And I don't know, like how far you stick it in or what. So I'm like, all right, I'm like, you stick it in as far as you can stick it, right? So I'm like in there, like working the nostrils. And then they're like, oh, wow, all this hair came out, like it looks good. I'm like, oh, now all the hair's short and it's stabbing the inside of my nostrils. So it's like for the next week, I just kept squeezing my nose because it was just so uncomfortable and it hurt because it was like all these tiny little coarse daggers stabbing the inside of my nose.
That could be dangerous, shoving that thing up your nose. Like
I felt like Total Recall.
you're like, all of a sudden you start hearing violins and stuff. And you're like, what am I touching up there in my brain? Yeah.
I had a full set, and it comes with like a nose trimmer, a small trimmer, and then a big trimmer. And I use a small trimmer for like my neck and my face, and then the big ones for my balls. Obviously, you can't have them be both the same one. I thought you were gonna say you stuck it up your butt.
No,
Why?
Just 'cause,
Why?
people have hairy buttholes, and you get rid of the
No,
dingleberries.
you don't. You're saying stick it up your butt?
Well, I mean, just
there's
like-
no hair in your ass.
different.
It's
Well, like,
around.
in that region. There's hair, and
Right.
it does cling to poo.
You're talking about dingleberries.
Dingleberries.
Do you take care of that?
Yeah,
I had my
You're
assistant
asking the
take
man who
care of
waxes
that.
his chest.
I feel like the
and normally we'll,
butt's a whole other story.
you gotta spread, and then you gotta.
Are we getting into shaving and waxing asses again?
Yes.
All right.
How do you take care of it?
Huh? What?
You know.
My ass?
No, just the downstairs mix-up.
Well, I have different methods. There's the burning method. You just,
Nair?
trimming.
Agent
no.
Orange.
Yeah, Ancient Orange. I just go like, I don't even know what I'm going with here, but basic trimming. But the thing is I have two electric razors that look exactly alike, and so I'm always playing like, I guess it wouldn't be Russian roulette, but I'm like, which one was it? And there's only one way to tell which one it was, and
Smell.
and I'm not gonna do it, so I just go, I'll wait another week and I'll figure it out. Like,
Dangerous game you play.
yeah.
One time I went to a friend's house and I was like, oh man, I forgot to shave. And he was like, oh, I got an extra razor. I was like, oh, cool. And I'm like shaving. He's like, that's my ball razor.
Oh my god.
Friends are assholes.
It's like rusted and covered in hair. That's my special razor.
Same thing has happened to me before.
So when you, I'm curious because I don't think I've ever talked to any dude who takes care of his butt hair. Doesn't it get really itchy when it grows back in, or do you just like always maintain it to the point where it never reaches that stage?
No, it'll get itchy after a certain point, but I prefer itchy than tangled. Because if it gets, if you're like running, especially like very active, like it all gets,
Yeah, if it gets tangled, it pulls, and you don't know what the pull is from. You're like, what is that?
Is that STD?
Yeah, I thought I took care of that. No, but you feel this weird tug, and you're like, ah, where is that? And then you're like, oh yeah.
I have to keep my belly trimmed because like sometimes belly hair will get hooked on belt buckles, and I'll just like that is pain beyond belief.
That one I can relate to. That happens to me.
What color is your belly button lit? Is it?
Typically it's sort of a gray, sometimes a light blue.
I just took
I
a
mean, I
shower.
imagine
so.
it's just whatever
Mine's
color
always-
clothing.
always
you wear.
dark blue.
Yeah, you wear a lot of blue shirts.
Yeah, mine's always gray or dark blue also. Like I feel like there's no variation. Like I'm wearing a red shirt right now, but there's never like look, there's red lint.
Be an experiment to wear only red shirts.
Or a yellow shirt or something like that, to where it's like, how did we get to this color here?
Oh, I need to take some picture to Patrick. One time I went as the Hulk for Halloween, so I painted my entire body green,
I can't picture you as the Hulk.
and for fucking weeks, probably months, I was finding green shit all over my body. Even places I didn't apply it, but it was just like all up in my ears, in my nose, and just like belly button. It was there for weeks. So
That's the worst. I've never dressed up as the Hulk, but when we filmed the,
you don't say.
when we filmed the Baby Gus short, there's that scene where I had to be covered in mayonnaise.
is that really mayonnaise?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I put mayonnaise all over myself, and like I thought I did a really thorough job of cleaning all the mayonnaise off, and then like later that night I'm at home and I'm like, what is that? Like, oh, there's mayonnaise in my ear. Like, gross.
You have tons of nooks and crannies that you just never see. Like that cleaning behind your ears shit. I mean, it's true. Like, when do you ever clean behind your ears? It's just not a place you touch. Even mine feels dirty right now. I just took a shower.
It's funny how that works. Like the areas you concentrate on. Like I think about, like when I'm in the shower. Like I don't know. I don't know how other people approach it. Like, what's the order? Like, you have to shampoo, you have to condition, and you have to like wash your body. But what is the appropriate order to
Top
do it
down.
in? See, I do that now. But when I was younger, I used to do body wash and then do the shampoo at the end for some reason.
Huh.
But I agree with you now. I think top
Yeah.
down's a
I
lot
think
better.
you probably do that because of baths. What do you shampoo first? No, you shampoo first in baths. Never mind.
But then, like, even once you get like, it's time to wash your body. It's like, how do you start?
Yeah.
You know, do you start on an arm or the torso or like, are there? So I start like top, but are there people who start from their legs first?
I don't know.
Oh, I
So-
mean,
It's dangerous washing your feet because you can slip.
Yeah.
So
and
I
you
don't know.
get the soap dirty or the washcloth dirty from your feet. There's like certain areas that like immediately dirty the washcloth.
I
and
would-
you're
I
like,
would do-
Can't use this
I'm
anymore.
I would always do feet last because if you're gonna like hurt yourself, at least you'll be clean.
What?
Whenever-
They find you like splayed out. And they're like, he's been dead for hours, but he smells great.
Irish Spring. I think I fuck up because I shampoo, soap, and then I come back to my face with the bar that's been
It's dirtied.
everywhere else.
Yeah.
It's soap though.
That is soap self-cleaning.
It
I
should
don't know.
be,
We
right?
had this discussion when Dan used my bar of soap and I found a pube on it. I guess it's not if there's pubes lingering on it.
But I mean, does a bar of soap like contain, bad material, germs and stuff?
I don't know.
It's like, it seems like even if there's a pube, you should be able to like lather it up.
Yeah, you
and it
lather up the
cleans it.
cube and you get rid of it.
Yeah. Who knows? One
Still,
of life's great mysteries.
That's
huh,
not
guys?
cool. He should have removed the pube.
It
And he
happens.
didn't care.
Yeah, he didn't.
Yeah.
He took my.
If
took
he'd
my pants.
maintained,
Yeah,
properly.
he wouldn't even have had it.
Ah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
So what's everybody doing this weekend?
I don't know. So, I started thinking about it. It's, today's obviously Memorial Day. Well, whenever this is airing, we're pre-taping this.
It's early in the morning.
It's early.
It's really early in the morning right now for us. But
Chris's face is puffed.
so it's Memorial Day, and I feel like Memorial Day is like always the start of summer. It's like when kids start getting out of school, and it starts getting really fucking hot, and it made me like start trying to wonder, like think back about like road trips and like summer vacations I used to take with my family when I was younger, which at the time were awful, and then like looking back now, it's like, man, what the fuck. I remember one year it was like I had just gotten my license. And I was so excited. My family was like, we're gonna take a trip to Colorado. Like, yeah, we're gonna drive there. Okay, you're gonna do all the driving.
Oh.
It was like, oh fuck. So it was like, and I grew up like way in South Texas. It was like a 20-hour drive nonstop. Like I'd never driven before. My family was like, all right, drive us there. We're just gonna be hanging out in the car. And it was
Whoa.
fucking brutal. Like at first, it's fun to be driving and it's new and it's exciting. And then like in the middle of the night in Oklahoma, I'm like, what the fuck am I doing? Like I'm a sucker.
You get tired, you're just like, Mom, I'm gonna go sleep. You stare, and I'll just be like that.
But I've always liked driving and driving long distances. Like when I was younger, I was convinced that when I was an adult that I was going to be a truck driver.
Wow.
Just 'cause
Aspirations, man.
it was like I want to drive, and there's a job where I would get paid to drive. It seemed like the perfect storm.
Win-win, yeah.
I was reading something about truck drivers, an article saying that they had a higher percentage of sociopaths and murderers or something like that. Maybe I'm wrong. Sociopaths definitely, but I don't remember what the other thing was. And it's like because it takes a certain weird mindset, that you just want to drive all the time and
Get away from your past.
yeah, get
Always
away
be
from-
moving.
and leave it all
Never put
behind.
roots down.
One rest stop at a time. There's a song in there somewhere.
Leaving a
That being
trail of
said,
dead hookers in your wake.
Big Trouble in Little China is a good movie. Jesus. Gus, you have something to say?
The sad part is I still
I still want to be a truck
I
driver.
still would like to be a truck driver. Right? I still think it would be fun. I think it's for me. It's the like not having to deal with anybody else. Like
Right.
you're just in a truck, and occasionally you get out, put gas in it.
Well, talk about things that'll be autonomous. I mean, truck driving will be one of the first, I think. They're already doing that in, some Norwegian country, I think.
I think it was Volvo developed the self-driving.
Yeah, a buddy of mine was actually working for Volvo and Scania, and he was doing all the tests on that. And, I mean, he's like, yeah, it'll be within a decade.
Yeah. See, I'd be a truck driver if I could just monitor the truck. Like if the robot cars were driving and I was just like the overseer. That'd be cool because
So
I hate
you just want
driving.
to sit. You just want to get paid to sit in the car.
Yeah, I'd do that. Yeah,
You don't like drive. Well,
I hate driving.
That is, it's not driving technically. That,
It's
So
just
you just
sitting.
be in a big moving office, essentially.
Yeah.
Going from town.
you see like a desk and a chair, just zooming down the highway.
Smokey and the Bandit would be so boring if that were, if autonomous trucks were in the 70s.
Initiating chase protocol.
Yeah.
Chase protocol.
Smokies everywhere. And, yeah.
Yeah. But then it would be, super boring if also like the cop cars were also automated. It's
And
like
it was
they're having a high-speed argument about like whether or not you should pull over.
Burt Reynolds is in his Trans Am just reading the newspaper, and he's like, I'll get back to it in a second.
But I've read too that like truck drivers, like have you ever been on the highway? I drive to Dallas a lot, and I typically do it at night because it's clearer traffic, but there'll be a lot of truck drivers on. You ever see like a truck driver like swerving? Like they have a lot of sleep deprivation. That's like a big problem that plagues the trucking industry, I guess.
Well, there are rules against that. You're supposed to have. It used to be where you're supposed to log your hours or whatever in books, and they always fudged those books so they could drive longer, blah blah blah. But then it became a computer system that they tracked and stuff, so it's a lot harder to do that. But I think there's some. I don't know if it's state or federal law that. It's murky, so you could drive for a longer period, and you could just drive for a straight period, and then not sleep, and then you're swerving all over.
I think they have those rules for like taxi drivers and Lyft and Uber drivers too. I had a girl. Okay, so I think it's. I don't want to sell any brands down the toilet. Well, Lyft. Let's just say that Lyft is better because they have rules on how long their drivers can drive for, and then it cuts them off. But there's other companies that they don't do that, so they can drive for as long as they want to. And I had a friend who actually was in one of these cars, and the driver started peeing. Like they were so
Wait, what?
about
Pants?
efficiency that he had like some device that he started pissing into.
No,
Catheter or whatever
no.
it is.
I don't know. It might like maybe a cup or something.
Was he just like?
Was it a device or a cup? Because I
Yeah.
feel like these are totally different things.
I don't know, because she was like really freaked out by it and just like grossed out, and she didn't want to pay attention, obviously. And she was in the back seat, so she immediately called her dad and was just like talking to her dad, looking at the scenery.
That makes it even weirder.
But would you
Why
want to
her
sit
dad?
there while this guy is just like, just telling you to take a piss? You
I
know?
wouldn't want to call my parents.
It'd be great if the bag is like in the passenger seat, like swinging and just filling up. So like,
in the face.
Oh, it's next to like one of those hamster containers with lemonade. Like, help yourself to some lemonade.
yeah, just a little taste.
I could see calling father. It's like a security thing, right?
Guess, yeah, but to me, it's like I wouldn't want to call my. I'd be like, what is he? What is? I don't know what my dad would do. Like, Dad, there's a man peeing.
Well, she didn't
car.
do that. She wasn't going to be in this car with this guy, not at her destination, be like, this guy is peeing, Dad. Like, she was just calling, like, hey, how's it going, Pap, like, just talking to him.
Pap.
Is that what you call your dad?
No, well, every now and then to just mix things up. Pops,
Daddy-o.
Daddy-o.
Yeah.
Very good one. Yeah.
I'm classic. Just
Yeah.
Dad.
Shout out to my daddy, one teacher of the year, by the way.
Oh.
It's a good man.
Congratulations
Yeah.
to him, not to you. You didn't do shit.
That's true.
You lost a kickball game by a horrible score.
You can only see me now.
I'm always amused, like you said, Pop or whatever. Like I'm always amused at the nicknames people come up with for their parents and for their grandparents, and what that distinction is. What's the one? There's one I really hate. Mima.
Oh,
man.
yeah.
I cringe anytime I hear someone say that one.
Yeah.
I've heard like FIFA.
Really?
Like it was a weird. I have this one friend growing up in elementary school. He had a weird name for every grandparent, and like I didn't understand it. I didn't want to understand. It's just like FIFA, mom,
What do you-
fla fla, and
What do you call your grandparents?
well, grandma.
I call them dead.
And
I knew. I
Granny.
saw the setup.
See, I
saw it.
thought that, but I didn't want to say
Well,
it.
that doesn't make sense. I called him dead. Hey, Dad.
They're dead. They're
You're
not
dead.
They're not alive.
Mine are too, but you don't call them dead.
Oh,
Do you
brutes.
ever call your grandparent? Or I imagine some people call their grandparents by their first names, right? Are there like some strange weirdos out
Well,
there?
there's
that are
people
like,
who call their parents by their first names,
Oscar.
right? So
Well-
it follows that would happen as well.
Well, I would think, like, I was actually thinking on this. There's a point where you cross a threshold where you start calling your parents their first name.
I think
I don't-
they're divorced and
No.
you don't, or like maybe it's a step parent. I think is typically.
No, but I mean,
Step-parent.
or you don't respect them. That's when you're in your rebellious teen stages.
well, no, but I mean, like, people get to a certain point where they're even, their parents, even if they're not divorced or whatever, it's just like, yeah, that's Bill and that's,
I've never done
Margaret.
I-
And
yeah,
you-
I don't-
called
I've
Mark
never-
and Leah.
But plenty of people do that. and it's like, what is that point that happens? And
Do you call your mom?
You see me call my mom. I don't call her
Yeah, I'm
Joanne
just trying,
or anything.
Yeah. But do you? Well, then why? What's
Oh
your
no!
point?
I when I introduce it to my friends, I don't go, friends, this is mom. I go, this is Joanne.
I would just say this is my mom, and then they'll call them Mrs. Gibson.
Yeah, but the thing is, if I do that, then they'll call her Mrs. Marquis, and she's not Mrs. Marquis, and then it creates an uncomfortable situation. Like now, Blaine.
Sorry.
Well, no, we
Joanne.
needed this explanation. That way we knew.
Yeah, now you know. You go.
His
Joanne.
his mom.
Yeah.
So I've known Aaron for a while. Every time I post anything on Facebook, his mom will comment on it. She'll be like, "Ooh, very handsome, but not as handsome as Aaron."
No matter what he posts, too.
It's like a picture of his dinner.
This is a great dinner, but not as good as something Aaron would eat.
No, I'm serious. It's like so there was that magazine article that we were in for social disorder, and I posted it, and I was like, all right, so here we're in this article. Next article, I'm hoping to get as sexiest man of the year, like joking, and she was like, well, you're sexy, but not as sexy. I was like, what?
I think this irks Chris so much. He's even told me about this, independent of Aaron. He's like, God, his mom just like backhanding comments on everything.
Yeah.
Well, no, she's just proud of her son. You're very sexy in
Well,
your mom's
she's proud of me
eyes.
too,
My
just
mom
not
thinks
as
I'm
proud.
Sexy. Yeah. I mean, my mom thinks I'm sexy, and that's nice.
Yeah. Jesus.
That's really hot. Move on.
Maybe the most awkward conversation ever on the podcast.
You could talk about family vacations, or are you gonna do?
No, I was gonna say something else. We were talking about. I just got your text, by the way. We were talking about like introducing your parents as like their names.
Yeah.
I would have a problem with that because with my father and I share the same name.
Oh.
Because I'm the third and he's junior. So anytime I've never introduced him like that, and if I did, it would just cause more confusion. Be like, oh hey, this is my dad, Gus.
What if you said his name was Gustavo?
He goes by Gus.
Oh.
Like I almost go by Gustavo more frequently than he does.
Oh.
Unless we're dealing with Spanish relatives, in which case we're both Gustavo, and it's just like
Just introduce him as Junior. Be like, this is Junior.
See, this
my dad
takes guys.
that was really confusing to me as a kid because I always growing up I always saw on TV or films or whatever like Junior was the child, so I thought I've got to be Junior. And then, my dad would always be like, no, you're the third. I'm Junior. Like, that doesn't make sense because on TV, the kid is always Junior. And be like, no, I'm Junior. You're the third.
Well, you can say Junior technically, right? Can't that you say
Yeah, that just
like,
rolls off the tongue, Aaron.
I'm Gus Junior.
I'm just trying to fulfill Junior's dreams here, and you're fucking ruining it.
Junior to you.
I think you can only do that if your name is Junior. But so I like my name. I've always been really happy with my name, and I'm not going to have kids. But if I ever had a son, I would name him the fourth. That being said, don't ever name your kid Junior or the third. Like, just stop that. It's an awful tradition. It causes nothing but confusion.
Does it also like cause like a not an identity crisis, but like for instance, there are plenty of actors and creatives and stuff like that who are named after their father or some a mother or something like that. Like, do you ever feel like there's too much pressure there or something or do you think that would happen where they would be like, well, I'm trying to live up to a name or whatever? You think there's an added bit of?
I don't know. Not for me. Maybe for some other people. I never really felt.
I'm not
that
talking
with
about
my
you.
dad.
I'm talking about like the Robert Downey Jr.'s.
Would you ever want, if you had a kid, would you ever want to name it a weird name just for funny sake?
Yeah, my wife and I talked about this a lot. Like we come up with funny names. She definitely wants to name. If we ever had a kid, which we're not, she always wanted to name the
Second
kid
time.
something crazy, like something really unusual, just so that it stands out. Like I don't know if you noticed, we like giving our dogs strange names, like people names or like old names.
I'm naming my first dog Steve.
Yeah, if we ever had a child dog, we would give a kid. We would we would give it like a weird name or something different. I
Like a
think.
dog's name.
Yeah. Well, I think
This is Rex.
the name we had settled on was Indy.
That's cool as hell.
That's pretty
Yeah,
cool.
well, it's Indiana Jones.
That's a meta
No,
thing.
Indy October Cirola.
What? Indy.
Indy October is the middle name.
Not INDY.
No, INDI.
Oh.
Oh.
I mean,
That's
I'll
a
go with
cool
it.
name.
Yeah.
Yeah, the other one was cooler, though.
Maybe like a Pokemon character, the way Indigo all the time.
Yeah. Our friend Zach, he's writing a book right now, and so me and Aaron have been reading different chapters of it, and he said that his dad wanted to name him Ben, and his last name is Anner. It sounds like so banana.
You met his dad. You know exactly why.
No.
That was totally on purpose. That's got to be on purpose.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It was totally. Yeah. His dad's just weird guy.
No, but there were some other strange names
Yeah.
Zach said he was going to name too. I can't remember what they are though.
It was after the movie Tron. Like it was like
Oh yeah,
Trondor.
yeah.
He
so-
wanted to name him Trondor.
yeah.
Jesus. Yeah, that would have taken.
He would have freaked out when Homestar Runner made that Trogdor cartoon. It was so close. He probably would have adapted the song for his name.
Yeah.
Trondor.
Parents almost named me Zane. I don't know.
Zane.
I could see you being a Zane.
No.
Zane is cooler than Blaine.
Fuck you.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Yeah, isn't it?
What? Blaine, Jesse Ventura's guy in Predator's name is Blaine.
What's the name of the actor?
Billy Zane?
Yeah, Billy
Well,
Zane.
no, but Zane Grey was a Western writer, I think, a book writer.
Oh,
And-
wow.
well, he's
That's
like
real cool,
he's
Aaron.
like a cowboy man.
What
And-
cool Blaines do you know?
Yeah, Blaine. I'm Blaine.
Seeing Candles, right? He gets the girl at the end.
His name's Blaine.
What'd you say? He's an asshole.
Patch says he's an asshole. Can confirm.
Perfect name.
It's all right, Zane. Don't worry about it.
God damn it.
We should start calling. I'll talk to the tech department. We'll get a Zane at receipts.com set up for you.
We can fill in the paperwork too to legally get your name changed. We'll just take care of that for you. It's like
Aaron, I
$400.
stopped listening to you 5 minutes ago.
Me too.
Yeah, I'm gonna read this. Well, actually, there's not anything to read. I want to remind everyone this episode of the podcast is brought to you by Spy the movie. There's no copy, so we just talk about it. It's coming out this summer, June 5th, which is really close. We got to go to the premiere party for this during South by Southwest, and I remember at the time, that was back in March, thinking that June seemed so far away to watch a movie, and here we are already.
Yeah.
Movie's got Melissa McCarthy, Jason Statham, Rose Byrne, Jude Law. And it was crazy because I got to see all of those people there in person, and it's weird seeing someone you've seen in so many movies.
Statham's like a
in person.
bulldog. He's he almost looks like a boxer or something in
Man.
person.
He actually interviewed him because we're doing the interviews for Spy, and he was just slick as hell too.
Yeah.
He's like, hello, love. And just like Ashley just melted, that guy's awesome.
Did you have a man crush on him?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think I told the story on the podcast after South by that I wanted to go up and get his autograph, but he's like the one guy that I was like kind of nervous about, and he's like the professional, but yeah. But I unfortunately missed that movie when it came through in South by, but I've heard nothing but awesome things about it.
Yeah, I've seen lots of commercials for it on TV, and all of the reviews I've heard so far have been pretty positive. And Bernie actually got a chance to see the premiere during South by, and
Yeah,
he loved it. I think he's even tweeted a couple of things about it, like when he sees people talking about it on social media. He's super excited about it.
Everyone who saw it at South by said it was funny.
Yeah.
Here, I guess there is a little bit of copy. I'll read this. Spies, a funny action comedy starring Melissa McCarthy, Jason Statham, Rose Byrne, and Jude Law from Paul. How do you say it? Paul Feig? Paul Feig?
I think Feig or Faggy.
Faggy.
I've heard Faggy.
Paul Feig, the director of Bridesmaids and The Heat. Susan Cooper, who's Melissa McCarthy, is an unassuming desk-bound CIA analyst and the unsung hero behind the agency's most dangerous missions. But when her partner, Jude Law, falls off the grid and another top agent, Jason Statham, is compromised, she volunteers to go deep undercover to infiltrate the world of a deadly arms dealer and prevent a global disaster. And remember, never judge a spy by their cover. So it should be interesting. I feel like it's definitely a movie I'll be checking out. Maybe not opening weekend because I'm scared of crowds. But shortly thereafter, once the crowds are a little less, I'll go watch it.
Yeah.
But coming out June 5th for all you normal people, not like me.
There's a bunch of spy movies coming out here soon. Like there's that one, but then like they're coming out with the new James Bond. I think there's another big spy. Man from U.N.C.L.E.
That's a movie?
Mm-hmm. It was a TV show, but
Yeah.
it's coming
I know
back
that.
out.
Man from
Uncle.
UNCLE, right?
Yeah.
Like the acronym or whatever it is.
Yeah. Spy movies are always cool. Like if there was like aside from Star Wars, if there was like a universe I could live in, it would be like a spy espionage. Like that'd be
Zane Gibson is the spy.
That should totally be your alternate alter ego name.
Zane.
Zane Gibson.
When he gets killed in the first 5 minutes of the movie, just like exploded. Just, like,
he's Amelia Estevez. He gets killed in the elevator shaft.
yeah.
Did you ever see was it Executive Decision? It's Kurt Russell
Oh,
and
with
Steven
Steven
Seagal.
Seagal? Yeah.
Where it's like it's Steven Steven Seagal's on the movie poster, I think, and he dies in the first 5 minutes of the movie.
I saw that with my dad, and I remember watching it, and he loves Steven Seagal, and he's watching, he's like, yeah, you get up in that Boeing, and then he goes, you're gonna make it, not me, and then he goes flying out into the sky or whatever,
no.
and my dad was like, what? Kurt Russell? I have to deal with Kurt Russell for however long? Yeah, that was really fun.
We went through like a Steven Seagal like phase in live action offices.
Oh yeah.
And like we just like it got to the point where every time we would go up to each other, we would like grab. He breaks arms in every movie, so we would go and go. Like you watch like a sizzle reel of him just breaking people's bones. Like he's a madman.
Did you see that? Russia had that big commemoration a few weeks ago of the 70th anniversary of the end of World War II, and they invited a ton of diplomats to go. Not very many showed up, but one of the people who showed up was Steven Seagal. So there's all this weird footage of him like in the crowd watching this parade of tanks and like Russian power.
It's pretty cool. I bet it could break all those tanks.
If those tanks had arms, I'd break them.
I saw a picture of him behind. Oh fuck!
Oh.
It's not. Is it
Putin? Putin?
What's the guy's
You
name?
talking about Russia? The
Vladimir Putin?
yeah.
Yeah, okay, Putin. I didn't know. I was like, oh fuck, you're getting mixed up with their World War II guy.
Who's their World War II guy?
Lenin and Stalin. Anyways, he was doing the rabbit ears behind Putin.
What?
The
I
what?
saw a picture of him doing the rabbit ears behind Putin.
Really?
Oh.
That'll get you fucking shot.
Jesus.
I feel like Putin would not take kindly to that.
Must be a fan.
I mean, Putin is the kind of guy that just takes things too. He'll threaten you and he'll take things.
He'll take your life.
He was former
Yeah.
Spetsnaz.
What was
like,
the-
He's not fucking around.
What's the thing with the? He took that Super Bowl ring. I'm sure you guys have
Oh,
spoken about
that's.
it too.
I love that story.
Yeah, I mean, you guys probably talked about it on here though, right?
Who did he take it from? Was it?
It was I think it was the.
Was it
Man,
the
I'm gonna
owner of the
fucking butcher
Patriots?
This. Yeah, but it was the owner or the president or something like that of. Was it the Patriots?
Just the Patriots.
Yeah.
When
Yeah.
you win the Super Bowl, like it's not just the players and the coaches. It's like I think
Staff,
everybody. Staff.
You know, they get the Super Bowl ring, and he was showing it to Putin, and Putin was like, "Yes, I like this," and he turns around, walks off, and his men close in behind him, and he just took the ring. And he didn't give it back. He just took the Super Bowl ring, and they're worth something like 20, 30 grand.
I
or
won
something like
Super
that.
Bowl.
It was a $25,000 ring.
Yeah.
It was, he took it from the owner of the Patriots, Robert Kraft, in 2005.
Just took it. He
I
didn't give a
scored a
shit.
game-winning
Robert
touchdown.
Kraft was in Russia when that happened. It's like, what do you do?
Yeah, what do you
He
do?
was asking for it.
Hold on, I'm trying to see this.
Yeah, I mean, the balls it takes to do something like that, you don't care, and it's like, I didn't. All he has to say is, "I didn't steal your ring."
Who's gonna question fucking Putin?
He'd be
Yeah.
like, are you accusing me of being a thief?
Right. As soon as he says, "I didn't steal it," and you say, "But you did," and it's like, those are very heavy accusations, my friend.
I must crush you.
Then you
And
end
he,
up in the
points at you.
gulag.
I did not take it, and he's wearing it. You cannot prove anything.
This is something different.
I'm reading this off of CBSSports.com. So this seems like this would be a reputable site. When was this story published? This story was published June 15th, 2013.
yeah, it's a couple years. ago.
Yeah, this happened back in 2005. So I'm going to read a little section out of this. Kraft might have helped America dodge World War III because instead of going after the ring, Kraft let Putin keep it at the insistence of the White House. Yes, someone at the White House called Kraft and insisted he let Putin keep the ring. And here's a quote. It would really be in the best interest of U.S.-Soviet relations if you meant to give the ring as a present, Kraft said he was told on the White House call.
Oh,
What?
So basically, Putin took his ring, and then the White House was like, you really should say that it was a present. You gave it to
Just
him.
write it off.
Jesus.
Just write it off.
$25,000 ring.
It's the Cold War tensions are still lingering, I guess.
Yeah.
I felt like I thought that had come up in the news again recently, and that the ring was being returned or something.
Why would he return it now? There's absolutely no reason to return it now.
I put uranium in the ring.
He's tired of wearing it. It's like it doesn't impress the Russians anymore.
His finger's just fatigued, and he's like, "I'll give it back."
Oh man, this muff is gross. This isn't my normal muff.
Usually, I trim my muff, but it's
We need to replace this one. It's got like boogers on the top. It's really disgusting.
Gross muff you got there.
God, Gus, quit talking about your muff on the podcast.
Look at it. It's gross.
Does he not get?
Put it up to your face.
That's a pretty nasty muff, man.
I get it. I just don't care. I don't acknowledge you're stupid. As a
Mature
joke.
one.
I'm mature. I don't know if you know that. That's what I'm known for in the podcast. Driving my truck around cross country, killing hookers.
We were talking about family vacations. I had this one where we went up to Oklahoma, and it was like this big family gathering, and like we had a big dinner and all this stuff, and I was out playing with cousins, and I go down this slide because they had this like big jungle gym set up. Go down this slide, and I just instantly land in like this just giant puddle of mud. I mean, there's like mud everywhere, and I'm just like covered in it. And everyone's like skirting away from me. They don't want to get really close to me. And my mom's like, "We're gonna get you to take a shower. You're gonna change into your cousin's clothes, honey," and stuff like that. I didn't find out until later the septic tank had erupted.
Oh.
And I was.
Could you not smell it?
I guess not, because I was just like, mud. It's covered in shit.
That's our Zane.
Yeah. Little Zane,
That was
shitty
Zane.
Zane.
Oh God.
Wow, that's fucking awful, man.
And then the rest of the day that my cousins were calling me, well, they meant to call me Feces Boy, but they ended up, they couldn't pronounce feces, so they called it fetuses.
Why would feces be the first word they go to? I didn't know what about feces till I was like 13.
Because I think they're trying to like refer to it in a mature. They overheard the aunts and uncles refer to it in a mature manner. You know, they weren't gonna be like Blaine just landed in a bunch of shit. They're like he's covered in feces.
Dump boy or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
That
was my family vacation.
I've never fallen into an overflown an exploded septic tank, but a ruptured septic tank. But
missed out.
I have a lot of family that live in Mexico, and one time I was visiting my great grandmother, and I to this day I still don't understand what the point of this is. But in her backyard, in a lot of the backyards in this town, there's like a little drainage ditch. They called it a sequía, and it was, I don't know if people like, if their house water like runoff went into there or what, but there was always like water in it, like crawfish and stuff like that. And I just thought it was cool. Like, it's like when you're a little kid, you don't understand. I was probably like 9. I was like, it's cool that my great grandmother has a river running in her backyard, right?
No.
But it's like this little ditch, and it probably was like as wide as this coffee table, just 2 feet maybe. And my sister and I like to jump over it back and forth. And at one point, like, my sister didn't make the jump and she fell in.
Oh.
And I was laughing at her, but then like she was crying. Then I felt bad. So then I was like, oh, I fell in too. Like kind of did that whole thing. Then like went inside, and my great grandmother was like started yelling at us, like, what the hell, what the hell's wrong with you? Like, get out of your clothes. And she made us coffee. So then this was like the greatest day ever, because I was like, oh, I got to be in the river, and now like I'm drinking a cup of coffee. My parents were out like shopping or something, and then my parents come back in, and my mom sees me like naked with a blanket around me in the kitchen drinking a cup of coffee. She's like, what are you doing? Like, oh, I fell in the sequía. She's like, you what? I was like she like went pale, like just thinking about like all the disease I was probably rolling around in.
Syringes like sticking at your back. Rio Gustavo.
But it's funny, like you so I can sympathize with rolling around in something dirty and just not making that connection or not thinking about it.
Yeah. I guess you didn't smell it either.
We were in LA this past weekend, so we went to the beach. And we're sitting there on the beach, and we're like, oh my God. We saw that there was a baby seal that swam up to the beach. And we're like, oh my God, look, there's a seal like coming right up to the beach. And it's like seals like, we see its head coming, and like, children start running to it. It's like, oh my God, the seal is so friendly. And like, oh, this is amazing. So we're like, we gotta go check out the seal. We walk up, it's a dead seal floating in the water. All the kids start crying.
Its eyes were like rolling the back of its head, and it's like,
oh my God.
And it was rolling around in the tide for a little while, and people,
it'd wash back, and then it'd come back, and people run up to it again. Oh my God, a seal!
But eventually, it rolled back into the water, and it starts going down the beach, and we were just like watching it go down the water and seeing the little thing. And anyway, I was like, man, someone's going to swim up to it and like be freaked out. Then we see this guy going out and charging. He was sitting with his girlfriend on this beach towel, and he starts walking into the water, and he swims to the seal. And we're like, what in the hell is he doing? He grabs the seal by the tail and drags it up onto the beach to his girlfriend and puts it down on the sand. And the seal is like, I mean, it's huge. It's, bigger than this coffee table, obviously. And the girlfriend's like, what the hell? And then more people start gathering around it. And the guy's just sitting back on the blanket with his girlfriend.
Look
with dead seal. I'm like, I got this for you, babe. Oh, man, it was awful.
Why would he do that?
I don't know. I don't know why he did it. I think that he was showing the lifeguard. He was like, "Hey, you need to get rid of this seal or whatever." But he could have just let it drift, back out or whatever.
Lifeguards, the garbage men of the ocean.
Yeah. And we saw the lifeguard. The lifeguard looked at him and was just like, "I don't fucking know what to do." Like,
It's like, that's not a person. I can't save it.
yeah, it's already
It's
dead,
dead.
too. Like, oh, I can't do anything with this.
What are the so? I always get them confused. Like I know there's seals and there's sea lions, and like one of them is like the small, cute one that everyone
And
thinks
walruses.
about. Yeah, but
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
a whole other. The
All right,
walruses
okay.
have like tusks and
Oh,
shit, right?
Oh,
Gotcha.
one of them's the,
One of them is like the small, cute one that everyone thinks about, and then the other one's like kind of like a bigger, grosser one.
This
Yeah.
one was cute.
Yeah,
Okay,
this
well-
one was
Well,
cute.
for a dead thing.
sometimes it has dimples and it sings, "Baby, I compare you to a kiss from a seal joke."
I
Seal
know.
joke.
Fuck me, right?
Dimples.
Give me a beer.
Tell us
So whatever the big gross
yeah.
one is. One time when I was in Puerto Rico, I was sunning myself on the beach, and like the beach kind of sloped up, and I was like up at the top, like looking down, and it was a super empty beach. I was the only one out there, and then like this truck pulls up, and these two dudes get out, and they go into the water. I'm like, okay, two dudes just hanging out in the water, and then I could see like a shadow in the water by them, and I'm like, what is that? And it's whatever the gross one is, like a sea lion or seal, like the big one. And I'm like, oh, it's one of those. It's like it's literally right there, like the distance from me to Chris. And like,
Jesus.
oh, they don't see it. They don't see it at all. And then it comes up out of the water, and then they both just start screaming like, running out of the water.
Those things will kill you, I believe. I mean, they'll get you.
anything that big in the water can kill you.
No, but a blue whale won't kill you.
It could. If
By
it just-
accident?
yeah, it may not be trying to kill you, but
No.
if it it decides to go flop up in the air or something,
That's
I don't know, it lands
accidents.
on you.
A sea lion will attack you. A blue whale won't attack you. It won't be like, I'm gonna go after him. And then it's like,
That's a really good blue elephant.
a sea lion is like, ah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a difference.
It's weird to think that most of the Earth is covered in water, and that's not like our native environment.
Right.
Like if we get in water, just about anything can fuck us up.
Yeah, and we've got about 2 minutes to live too. 'cause
Right, yeah, you go
depending on your
under-
swimming ability.
That's it.
Yeah.
So it's-
Even those little like things that swim up your pee hole when you pee.
Oh, in the rivers.
Yeah.
In South America.
Yikes.
That's a urban legend.
No, it's
that's
absolutely real.
I swear to God, I thought I read that was an urban legend.
No. I mean,
to me.
just from what I remember, what I'm making up right now in my head, it's not an urban legend at all. I don't think. I think it's real. I don't have
Leeches.
any way to prove that.
Leeches clinging onto your man parts. That would be terrifying.
You ever had a leech on you?
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. I don't think so.
Anybody?
I had
Yeah,
one
we saw
a
it.
couple times. Yeah.
At a secret beach.
Oh yeah, Secret Beach. You came out of the water and was like, Chris, and you're like, what, guys?
You had one on your face?
No, it was on your. I don't remember. It was like somewhere to where you're like,
It was
oh, what
gross
is that?
looking.
And you're like, oh.
Oh Jesus.
Yeah, that was pretty. And that was moving water too. I
Yeah.
didn't understand that. Like it was in a river that was flowing, and then he was, covered in leeches.
I've had leeches, also from a river, as well. So I
I
guess
thought
maybe
they were
that's a
in
common thing.
stagnant water though. I thought they were in like ponds. Or
I never
something.
thought about that until you brought it up right now. But yeah, that's what I guess that's what I thought too. I just never put two and two
Yeah,
together.
that's what I've learned from movies. Like I learned, sea lions attack.
Things swim up your pee
things
hole.
swim- yeah.
Yes, things swim up your pee hole.
and
leeches.
leeches are in stagnant water.
Yeah.
It's weird because I've had leeches on me a couple of times, and I feel like you would think that it would hurt, but you don't realize that it's on you. And then I don't know what your experience was, but taking it off like doesn't hurt at all. It's just
No.
like it's just like taking a piece of tape off
Yeah.
of your body. Like
Well, it's like when a mosquito or something is. Well, I guess that kind of like is annoying.
No,
but-
no, a lot of times you don't even notice when you
Yeah.
get bit.
yeah, but a mosquito afterwards, like the bite itches.
Oh, yeah,
Like
yeah.
with
Oh,
the
yeah,
leech,
the
it was
bite
just like
itches, but-
nothing.
Yeah.
And I think I could have sworn I've seen in movies that they say like you have to burn a leech off or something.
Yeah.
From what I remember
They
from
put a lighter up to it.
Speed
Right.
2 Cruise Control, you didn't have to burn them off. But I could be wrong. I hadn't seen that movie in a long time.
It's a great movie.
Yeah, it's great.
Speed one's better.
Yeah.
I finally saw John Wick the other day.
Oh,
I hadn't seen it in forever. It's good. It's just like action movie. No real depth to it, but it's a cool universe that they built for that.
are they making a second one?
Yeah, I think that's why I finally decided to watch it. I saw they had greenlit the second one.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, it must be an okay movie then.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure it's pretty entertaining. I think it was at South by or something one year, or
I don't
maybe
know.
I'm wrong about that. But
I've heard good things.
I was gonna go. I had a ticket into a John Wick screening at Alamo for free. They were like inviting like press and just people, and I think I showed up just ever so late to where they wouldn't let me in. And that was like the closest I ever got to being like a diva in a movie theater because I had driven all that way through traffic and the guy was being such a prick. And yeah,
Do you know who I am?
I didn't.
I'm Zane Gibson.
Damn it. I didn't pull anything like that, but I was just like, listen, you know, I have a seat reserved in there for me, and the guy was just not playing ball.
I'm Zane Gibson. This is my friend Gustavo Jr. Jr.
When was like, have you ever freaked out at a cash register person, or have you ever had like such a bad customer service experience where you just lost your shit?
I think if I did, it would have been when I was like a teenager or something. Because eventually, once I had a service industry job, I realized, wow, people just have bad days, and you end up like sometimes it's things people can't control, and you know you start yelling at them, and there's no fucking point.
Changes
to it.
your perspective once you actually.
Yeah.
Look
Did you have one?
Oh no, but I do remember this guy coming in when I was working for a luggage company, and he just right off the bat brought in his suitcase, and I was like, unfortunately, I can't return this item because we don't carry it in the store. It's some policy thing, and I was like, I'm gonna get you this number, and I'm gonna make sure I push you up on the list so that you can get customer service immediately because I know this is a hassle for you. Being as respectful and kind as I could, and immediately he just started screaming at me, and then he started getting to the point where he started screaming at other customers in the store to get out because I was such a bad customer service rep. So like I couldn't yell at him back because that would be bad on my part. So I just started doing the kill him with kindness and was like smiling nonstop, like, thank you for your concern, sir. Like, just like went into robot mode, and then like I got the whole thing worked out, and I made some phone calls, and then he ended up. I handed him the phone. I was like, "Here's our customer service line. They can assist you now." And he talked to them. He's like, ah, "Fucking okay." Throws the phone at me, and I was like, "You have a great day, sir. Thank you. Come and get." You know, just like this guy's such a fucking asshole. I was like 19.
I mean, I've had to deal
He
with
was 19 or you were 19?
I was 19. He was like 50. He was a grown man and should have known better.
people immediately turn. I was reading something about this recently because I mean I was dealing with my cable provider or whatever, and the immediate thing that people do when they call customer service, of course, is like, I'm calling about blah 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 blah, blah, and it's immediately negative, right?
Yeah.
And the person on the other end just turns off, right? They just, okay, this is what I'm dealing with. I deal with it every day, in and out, and I'm just gonna go through the spiel. But if you're nice and you're not, realize it's not their fault necessarily, it's whatever the company's fault usually. You're just nice to them, then they'll give you all sorts of things and they'll work with you and stuff like that. And I mean, I totally understand that as far as like a customer service thing, because all you do is deal with shitheads. I used to work in insurance when I was a kid. And
when you were 6?
When I was 6. Oh, I had a job.
I can't insure your motorcycle. Sorry.
Joanna got you started early.
That's pretty good, Zane.
Yeah. I was 19, I believe. And like people were always mean when they called up, or they had a problem with their policy or whatever, stuff like that. And
Just imagining an Aaron teenager just be like, "Listen, asshole, I want to take your shit."
I'm sorry. But like, the nice ones, I was like, I will do whatever you need. You want some more life insurance? I'll give it to you for free, and stuff like that. And it made a
I
difference.
used to give discounts to people who were just like, they would just play ball. They would cooperate.
Yeah.
In fact, like I went and got a haircut and I had my name on the list, and then there's some sort of mix up, and then I ended up going last. But I mean, I was fine. I was just like reading comic books there, and they're like, "Do you want a free shampoo?" Like, when you're nice about it and you acknowledge that there's an issue, but you're just like, it's whatever. Then they're like, "Let me give you some free shit."
It definitely works a hell of a lot better. I used to work at that call center doing tech support, and lots of times, you get a lot of calls when there's an outage, and people call like, this was back, when it was all dial-up internet, and people call like, "Oh, I can't believe the internet's down. How long is it going to be down?" Like, I don't know. It says here on my screen it's going to be down for 2 hours. And they're like, "I want a refund for the amount of time it's down." I'm like, okay, well, you're paying $19.95 a month for internet. That's, 66 cents a day divided by 24 hours. You're paying about 2.5 cents an hour. So, yeah, where do you want us to mail your 5-cent check to? And you're like, never mind. Wow. It's like when you like really break it down to like, what are you actually paying for? What are you actually getting? It's like, oh, yeah, you're right. This is actually really
I want my nickel. I want it.
Damn you.
It's like, yeah, the postage would cost more.
Yeah.
The gas you would spend going to the bank to give them the check would cost
Yes.
more than the fucking nickel. Have you ever, speaking of gas,
What's up?
This made me think about something. Have you ever run out of gas while you're driving somewhere?
Tons of times.
Tons?
Yeah. One time I was driving my Crown Victoria. It was the police car I had. Adam and I were, my friend Adam and I were driving up to go get a pizza. We're driving up MLK, going west. You know how it's really hilly when you're going towards campus or whatever? I knew I was low on gas, but we were talking or whatever, blah, 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 going to get pizza, and it just ran out of gas in the middle of the road. But the thing was, it looked like an unmarked cop car, so I left it in the middle of the two lanes. Like, I mean, in the middle of traffic. This is 4:30 or 5 in the afternoon. And he and I just walked to get our pizza, and while we were getting our pizza, I was like, I guess I'll go buy a gas can. And I bought a gas can, I'm filling it up. Meanwhile, we can see down the hill, and cars are, like, backed up to 35, like, going around it. And I don't remember if I put my hazards on or not, but it was just down there. I'm like, man, that really looks like... A cop car passed me, didn't even, or I saw it pass and didn't do anything. And then once, we got the gas and the pizza, we just walked back down to the car and loaded up, and we're like, all right, let's get out of here. I mean, I parked in the middle of a roadway for 20 minutes.
Jesus.
Yeah. Anyway,
During rush hour.
During rush hour.
The car's just backed up. They didn't
Yeah, they were like, I guess this is important, whatever's going on. Yes, so I have many times.
I've not. Have you?
Once at the airport, and it was actually Jeff's fault, Jeff Ramsey. It was back when we first started Rooster Teeth. They went somewhere. Bernie and Jeff both flew off somewhere, and I was still in Austin, and they were coming back, and I had to go pick them up. And it's back when I was living with Jeff, so I was like, yeah, I'll pick you up. And I just took Jeff's truck because mine was broken, because mine was always broken back then. And so I started Jeff's truck, and at the time he lived on Riverside, we were pretty close to the airport, and I drive out there, and as I'm pulling into the airport, it just cluck, 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 cluck. I'm like, what the fuck? And then so I coast off to the side of the road. I'm like, I've got 3/4 of a tank of gas, and tap, tap, tap. And it goes, like a motherfucker. And then of course it's the whole thing where since you're on the airport, the cops come out and what are you doing? What's going on? I'm just out of gas. So so then I had to try to convince them to give me a ride to the gas station down the road so I could buy gas, and it was just a whole fucking ordeal. Then since it was an old truck with a carburetor, the carburetor had dried out. So when we put gas in the tank, it wouldn't start. So then I had to siphon some back out to then pour onto the carburetor.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God. The cop was just fed up. He's like, I'm just going to help you push it into the parking lot. You pull a ticket, and then you do whatever you need to do to get it out of here. It was just a huge pain. And of course, Bernie and Jeff were like, oh, that sucks. All right, we got a cab.
Oh, wow.
They didn't even come help. They didn't even wait.
I was dating a girl who runs marathons and races and stuff like that. She's super fit, and I took her to San Antonio. This is earlier when we were dating. And I took her to San Antonio so she could run a half marathon out there. And we take her hybrid. She's like, yeah, it's no reason that you need to burn all your gas. We can take my car. It's way more fuel efficient. So all right, whatever. So I drove us out there. She goes and runs a race, and I park somewhere away from all the race so I can get out of the traffic and just started reading a book. So she texted me. She's like, all right, I'm ready to go. And I was like, all right, great. Started a car. The fucking hybrid's battery had died. It's the same model of car that you have. I think I actually texted you.
You did text me how to start it.
What the fuck do I do? And you didn't respond. I was like, thanks, cuz. But I was just sitting there. I was probably parked a good 2 miles away. This poor thing had to go from running a half marathon and walk all the way to the ghetto part of San Antonio where I was parked, getting the car to get fixed, and we ended up having to jump it. I was so fucking mad. This is it's like a battery operated car, and the battery dies. It's
that happens.
I know, but it gave me no warnings or anything. It was just you just died.
I think battery cars are cool though.
Yeah, here it is. It was a Sunday at 9:23 a.m. I think I was still asleep. How do I start a Prius? The power button isn't doing shit. Then at 11:04 a.m., never mind, figured it out. So then the next text I sent to you, I don't even know why, is 12 days later. I just say, Halo, question mark?
Oh, yeah, we were playing Halo 5 beta.
Oh, okay, that's right. And then you didn't reply. And then the next text is from you isn't until February.
Wow. Really
extensive conversation.
Yeah, we talk a lot, so.
You insane.
I once,
God damn it.
talking about friends to the airport, I once, my friend was like, hey, can you take me to the airport? I'm going to New York for a week or two. And I was like, yeah, sure. I drive him to the airport, drop him off. And then I get back. As soon as I pull back home, he calls me. He's like, hey, can you pick me up from the airport? I was like, what happened? You missed your flight? Or he's like, no, not exactly. I was like, what do you mean? It's like, my flight's not today.
Jesus.
I was like, well, when is it? He's like, next month.
Oh my god.
He had the right day, but the wrong month.
Wrong month.
For his vacation, and he didn't realize it, and it was his vacation.
There was
Jesus.
one time I was
heartbreaking.
I was in the Seattle airport, and I think we were flying back from a PAX, and I want to say I think it was someone was there with someone. It might have been Jeff. Jeff and I were there at the airport, and we're taking the red eye back from Seattle, so it's like 9 p.m. or something, and we're waiting to get on. We're checking into our flight, and there's like a group of like 6 like kind of douchey frat dudes who are also like checking in for a flight. They're not checking into the same flight. They're checking into some other flight. And like one of them's like taking the lead. You can tell like he's the guy who organized everything, and he's trying to help everyone get checked in.
Alpha.
Yeah. And so he's up there, and like the person behind the counter is like typing like crazy. She's like, I don't know what's going on. Type. She's like, let me look at your reservation, sir. Type. She's like, oh, your flights were yesterday. And then one of the other dudes like takes his backwards baseball cap and is like, what the fuck? And just like slams it on the ground. He's like, you fucked us. He's like, we missed our flight. And he just starts screaming at his friend.
I like the little detail. His backward baseball cap.
Yeah, that's exactly
He's
what
like,
he did. That thing where he's like, he smushed it up and then got it in one hand and just slammed it on the ground.
That's fucking awesome. Man, Chris and I were, when we're flying back from LA on Sunday, not to keep going on airports, both airport stuff,
stories are like half of this podcast.
I know, but we're coming back from LA, and it's me, Chris, and Josh Flanagan.
We came from the beach.
We
Like,
come straight from the beach.
like
you bring the Dead
we
Seal?
almost missed our flight because we were at the beach.
Yeah,
for
one
two-
with the dead seal.
Yeah.
And,
So I'm like we're all wearing swimsuits.
We're wet and covered in sand still, to be clear. Anyway, Chris is up ahead of us in line because Josh and I had been doing a little late. So he's up ahead, and we see him give his ID to the TSA agent, and immediately she looks at it, and this like little red thing flashes, and she's like, we gotta go to the side here. We gotta go to a different area. And Josh and I start laughing our asses off, as he gets like flagged for whatever additional screening. And so, we're getting our way through line, Josh and I, and we look over at Chris, and he's getting the full workover as far as like they're digging through his bag and all this stuff, far off, and we can't hear them or anything. We see the TSA agent. The TSA agent says something to Chris. Chris kind of looks at him like that and does this to the table. He goes. And the TSA
Just bent
agent
over.
goes, no, turn around, put him out like that. And Josh and I are laughing our asses off. We were laughing so hard, and Chris is seeing us, far off, and he's like, shaking his head like that, and other people around us are laughing. And so I get up to the little scanner machine, and I go through the scanner, and I'm still looking at Chris and laughing because he's still getting, searched and stuff. And I get out of the scanner, and I'm looking at him, and this guy runs this little thing across me, and it goes, and I'm still laughing. He goes, sir, we need to go to the side over here. I'm like, what's going on? He's like, bring your stuff over here. So he runs this like little pad over me and puts it in this machine, and it brings up like some, red deal or whatever. He's like, I'm going to have to swab your entire bag. And I look over at Chris. He's like 10 feet from me getting searched through all of his stuff. And we're still wet. We're covered in sand. And so he starts going across my hands. He's like, what is this material on your hands, sir? I'm like, it's sand. I came from the beach straight here. And he's like, did you do anything else at the beach besides swim? I'm like,
play with dead seals.
yeah, I was like, I guess I was playing with the seals. But, and so he runs through the machine again. He's like, sir, we're going to have to go to a private room. Is that okay? I'm like, what? And Chris just looks at me. He's like, yeah. And so I get led past Chris into this room, and I hear Josh laughing outside of the room and Chris laughing. And we're like causing a scene because we're all together and we all look like bums. And so I'm in this little room, and I didn't tell you this, but whenever TSA like really gives you the pat down, they call it out, whatever they're doing. And it doesn't help the situation at all. He's like, sir, I'm going to turn my palms around and run it down your chest like this. And it goes like that. And I'm like, okay,
Did he
well,
wink at you?
that wasn't so bad. And he's like, sir, I'm going to take my hand like this and run it between your legs like that. And he starts, doing this stuff. And I'm like, this is like, credit or debit, man. And he does all this stuff. And he's like, okay, you and your friend were at the beach. And I was like, yes, we're at the beach. He's like, okay, you can go. I'm like, fuck me. And I walk out, and Chris was just getting, unsearched, I guess. But it was, I mean, we were wearing swimming trunks. What are you going to do?
Sandals.
And sandals. Like, where are you going to hide anything?
Also, look at that face.
I
Like,
know.
what is he gonna do?
Look at this Punim here.
Just
I know a sexier face though.
Oh yeah, lips face.
Boom.
Oh,
there we go. So, call back.
Joanne. I'll call you Joanne from now on, or Mom, whatever you want.
Just don't call me Junior.
We're talking about late and showing up tardy or, missed schedules and stuff like that. I got invited to a surprise party for some girl's friends, and I didn't know who they were, so I was like, whatever, just give me the time. And I start driving over. I show up. House looks kind of dark. I start walking up to it and about to knock on the door, and I'm like, hey, where are you? Like, no one seems to be here. And she's like, the party's not till next week. And I was like, in the middle of this yard, I was like, fuck me. Fuck. And then I, got back to my car.
It'd be great if you're in the kitchen of the house. You're like, where's the party, man?
I didn't realize I could have ruined this guy's surprise birthday party.
Like for a party, you feel like normally you just walk in, right? There's no need to knock. Like, what if you had just tried the door and gotten in there?
Hey, where is everyone? Surprise!
Zane here, ready to party.
Would have been a surprise.
I already drank all the beer in the fridge. Where's the cooler? Here, let me read this. I want to remind everyone this episode of the podcast is also brought to you by Trunk Club. When it comes to clothing, men all over the world agree on two simple facts. One, when you look great, you feel even better. And two, the time it takes to actually shop for, find, and buy those great-looking clothes absolutely sucks. Trunk Club gets it, and that's why they've taken the pain out of finding great-looking clothes by shipping you a trunk of clothes that fit perfectly and make you look amazing. At trunkclub.com/roosterteeth, you answer a few simple questions about your look, style, and size. You're assigned an expert who will handpick clothes that are just right for you. After getting to know you and your preferences, your stylist will email you their recommendations curated from only the best premium brands. You approve what you like, and boom, a trunk full of great clothes handpicked for you arrive at your door. Try them on, keep what you want, send back what you don't in their prepaid trunk, and that's it. Trunk Club is the easiest way to refresh your wardrobe this spring. Your stylist, the shopping, the trunk, even the shipping are all 100% free when you go to trunkclub.com/roosterteeth. Looking great is important. Trunk Club has made it easy. Only pay for the clothes you keep, no ongoing subscription, no hidden charges, just great clothes handpicked for you. You're going to thank me on this, and right now it's completely free, so go get started at trunkclub.com/roosterteeth. That's trunkclub.com/roosterteeth. And I got this shirt from Trunk Club.
You know who could have their clothes, selected for them? Zarin Marquis.
What? Why? And
You're
how's
actually-
the camera already on me?
You're
when
dressed like a normal person today, but
We should get you a
normally,
subscription, get you some stuff.
Wait, what do you mean a normal person? What am I usually dressed like?
like an asshole. You got like cowboy boots.
Yeah. Well,
He's got cowboy
What's
suits
wrong with
on.
cowboy boots?
yeah.
Hey, he just.
Oh, I gotta get these resold. Damn.
God.
Yeah. What? No, I look great.
You buy shirts with like fucking tractors on it. I'm wearing jorts right now, so I can't really talk.
You just cut all your clothing up. Is what you do. You cut the sleeves off. You cut the bottom.
Well,
of
yeah,
the
everybody's
legs
wearing
off.
a shirt that fits this week.
Oh, yeah, it does
good?
fit. Yeah, it does fit.
No.
I know.
When they were talking about getting uniforms for the kickball thing, you're like, just to let you know, I have to cut my sleeves off.
Yeah, it's part of.
By the
Got
way,
it.
in that kickball group photo, do you have to be that dude who's like flexing and showing off in the back? Like it's a great group photo.
he's
Everyone's
just
just like there, and you're just like trying to be like Adonis in the back. Look at you. Like, you look like a fucking.
No, there was a girl off camera and was like, "Hey."
Everyone else is having a good time, and you're just.
No one else seems to be having a good time. Tom, maybe.
Brandon strangely looks like he's having a good
Blaine's
time.
Oh,
like
it is
posing
weird.
for another camera off screen.
Yeah, you're not even looking in the right direction.
I'd like to point out, Cole, you can't see him, but he had the smallest, shortest shorts on. Like, it looked like he was just wearing a long short
Cole
shirt.
looks like he'd shank you in prison.
Yeah,
Doesn't he
in
have
that
that kind of
picture.
look, that hard look.
He's crazy,
Good
man.
job, Cole.
Yeah.
Looking
You got a
hard.
thumbs up from Cole in the control.
We've got
Cole,
like 7 more fucking games. Oh, Christ.
think of all the girls you're gonna meet.
No, like, not if my team's like, oh, you gotta kick the ball. They're all serious about
Kick
it.
the ball at kickball.
Well, I just want to, hang out and have a couple drinks. And
You're gonna run out of feet to break eventually.
yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I feel, I don't know if you heard, but like 3 weeks ago, maybe 4 weeks ago now, I got a haircut, and after the haircut, like I fell down some stairs like an idiot
What?
With your lighter
It's
up top.
related.
because I sprained my ankle, and it still hasn't healed. So I'm starting to think I may have broken something in my foot because it still hurts like hell. Like I'm still limping. Like
Something's broken,
it
man.
fucking hurts. Like, and even to the touch, like if I touch it, if someone were to step on my foot, I'd probably cry.
Which ankle?
I'm not gonna tell you. But yeah, so I don't know. I got to make a doctor's appointment and go to the doctor. Like even if you like break a bone in your foot, there's nothing they can do, right? Like
Well, no. I mean, ankle. If something,
It's not my ankle area. It's like
They
it's
can
like on
boot
the
you.
top of
Yeah,
the
they
foot.
give you a boot so it doesn't like twist and
Or
bend.
depending, they would give you a special little cast.
I tore a ligament once, and I was in a boot for a while. But they'll probably put you on crutches because they're gonna want you to get off that foot.
yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah,
Yeah.
crutches fucking blow. Where does the haircut come into play in that story?
Yeah, I don't
Because
understand.
I was getting a haircut, and after the haircut, I was texting my wife like, "I'm done with my haircut," and I was walking down some stairs, and I wasn't paying attention to the stairs, and I fell down the stairs.
You could have just said I was walking down some stairs,
Stairs.
and you're
Because
like,
I'm prefacing it for people who listen to the podcast and remember my haircut, remember me talking
Oh.
about it. You guys obviously don't know shit.
or listen to the podcast.
Or listen to the podcast. You just show up for it.
A little late, actually.
There's this funny quote from Zach. This is the first newspaper article he ever did, or whatever interview, and it was about like showing up for stuff. And they're like, what is your creative process? When you do things, when we're filming stuff. And he goes, I just show up and do shit, and they either use it or they don't. And he was joking, but that was the quote they ran with. I show up and do shit, and they either use it or they don't.
Look, groundbreaking.
Classy. Yeah.
Interviews are such a weird thing to me. It's like sometimes you get someone who really understands and knows what they're asking about, and other times you get people just like no idea. Like, and those are the most frustrating ones. The people who haven't done any research and they're learning as they ask the questions.
Yeah.
Then it really becomes almost like a game where you're just like,
Yeah, just toy with
how
them.
what direction can I take this interview in?
I just like in interviews when they take like small blurbs like Zach's out of context and just like focus on that. Like when I was talking about the Disney princess thing, some fucking reporter sat through and watched the entire podcast where we talked about that. And from all that shit, they got one quote. Cinderella was kind of a bitch. Which makes me like the biggest dick in the world. God damn.
It's definitely not your flexing kickball pose. It makes you look like the biggest stick in the world.
No.
You know who's a bitch? Cinderella.
Zane Gibson.
Zane Gibson. See, you're warming up to it. You're starting to like it.
No, it's fucking stupid.
It's a great name, Zane.
Jesus. This is the new Blaine it. Everyone's just gonna call me Zane.
No, nothing will replace Blaine it. This is
Yeah.
this is
Yeah.
Unless it's Zaned it, and we have to change it. Yeah.
the possibilities are endless.
Yeah. No,
What do you think of this banana bread beer?
It's good.
It's interesting.
So I should point out that someone from the community sent this to us. Someone named Ethan sent us a little 4-pack of this. We've killed it now, but it's a Wells banana bread beer. It's really good.
Yeah, I don't like banana bread. But I like,
what?
Are you crazy?
No, I don't like banana
I
bread.
don't even like bananas, and I love banana bread.
Well, I like bananas.
You don't like
Just don't like
bananas?
banana bread bear.
like bananas.
Bread.
The too
Bad
salad free?
barrel.
No.
Wow.
I love hot dogs. I'll eat the shit out of a big old sausage, but not
Why
bananas.
would you eat a banana?
I don't. Bananas just taste weird. They're like it's like poo texture.
What?
Yeah,
It's just
like
not the
You've
taste.
tasted
It's the
shit?
all
texture.
mushy, and then it's like it's like a little too sweet without being like a good kind of sweet. I don't like bananas.
But this is really good, and I love that their logo is like a banana being peeled with like a pint of beer coming out from it.
That's pretty creative.
It could just be banana beer though. The bread is like
No, I get
No,
like
because it'd be
like
different.
a nutty hint to it.
Yeah.
okay.
Like there's nuts in banana bread.
Did you ever go on any family vacations, Chris? Like,
Never.
Really? Did you never?
Never.
No, I mean I did. Yeah, I did.
I mean,
some.
I didn't, but did I mean?
Not. I mean, I went to like Florida. I went to Disney World and etc.
I never. So, you wanted to talk about family vacations. I remember we were talking
Yeah.
about it, and I was like, I thought about it. I never went on a family vacation. 'Cause-
Really?
Well, here's the thing. Like, we're talking about my parents, the lovely Joanne and Brian, and but they were always like, when I was a kid, it wasn't like they didn't have the best relationship. So it'd always be like on the up point of it, they'd be like, okay, we're in May or June, we're going to Florida, Aaron, and it was usually Florida. I was like, okay, cool, blah, blah, blah. Like, that's great. And I'd be looking forward to it. And then, like, whatever parent problems would happen and stuff. And like, my dad would come in and be like, or my mom would come in and be like, Aaron, I said we're going to go to Florida, but something came up. I'd be like, what came up? And she's like, your dad is a lying, cheating bastard. And I'd be like, oh, okay. Well, that's all right. That's unfortunate. And then my dad would come in and be like, I'm sorry you had to hear that, Aaron. That was awful. I need to be honest with you because you're a man now. You're a big boy. I need to tell you the truth. The reason we're not going to Florida Your mom's a whore. So I guess we're not going to the fucking beach this year, are we? And it's like, that's what it always was. And it's like, we never went on a family vacation.
That's the worst.
Ever.
They dangle it out there.
Yeah, it's
then
like, I don't care about all the other stuff they were saying.
Yeah.
It's like, are we going to the beach or not? Just tell me straight up.
We
It was never-
I don't know why. I guess it's because of Disney. Like Florida's such a big attraction for like family vacations and whatnot. So Florida, hopefully, like is still sucking Walt Disney's dick because there's nothing. Florida's such
Right.
an awful state. I'm sorry, Florida.
Beaches.
But I went once for a family vacation. My parents did not have the that discussion until years later, luckily.
Yeah.
But what old was I? I was like 13 maybe. We took like a family trip. Again, we drove. Luckily, I wasn't old enough to drive yet, so I didn't have to make this drive. We drove from South Texas out to Florida. Went to like Disney World, did all that stuff. It's cool. And then the next year, for some reason at school, we took a school trip to Disney World
Wow.
when I think I was 14 or 15. And I'd already, like, I feel like I'd already just seen it. And, like, you're at that weird age where you're a teenager and you don't,
I've been there
yeah, I've
already.
been there. Like, I'm not into that. I don't want to do it. And so we, as part of the school trip, we go out there to Florida and we're staying at some hotel. And the hotel has an arcade. And in the arcade, they've got, like, Mortal Kombat. I'm like, oh, sweet, it's Mortal Kombat here. So, like, I'm playing Mortal Kombat. And then they're like, all right, we have to go to Disney. Like, fuck, I don't want to go to Disney. I just want to play Mortal Kombat all day. So we all get in the bus and we go to Disney and they let us loose. And, they're like, all right, if anybody gets sick or if anybody, feels bad, just go to like town hall and, leave a note, leave a message and let us know and we'll find you and we'll know. And if there's an emergency, just go there. I'm like, all right, cool. So, we're walking around Disney. I spent like an hour in the park. I'm like, I'm done with this. I just want to go play Mortal Kombat. So like, I'm just going to tell them I was sick. So I go to like the town hall or whatever, and I'm like, I just leave a note, and I'm like, I got sick, I can't do this, I'm going back to the hotel.
Carry on without me.
Yeah, carry on without me.
Sorry.
I'll be okay. So I go back to the hotel, like, yeah, Mortal Kombat, I played Mortal Kombat all day. Then like at 9 o'clock at night, one of my teachers comes in and is like, you
Get over here.
I was like, what? He's like, and he was just like yelling at me because I left the park and they couldn't find me. I'm like, I left a message. I did what you said. He's like, why'd you leave the park? We waited there for 2 hours and I was so close looking for you. I was like, I did exactly what you said. I left a message. He's like, you don't look sick. Like, yeah, I came back. I took my medicine. I'm fine now. So they couldn't get mad at me because I followed their rules, but I wasted everybody's time on that trip.
That's a perfect vacation for you. I can't think of something better for you.
It's awful. I feel terrible about it to this day.
No, you think about it every day, and you're like, that was the best. I was so on that time.
I went one time I went to Disney World. Like we went and all the adults were paired up with a kid.
Yeah.
I got paired up with my great grandmother,
Oh,
who
like a
right now
blast.
is like 100.
Oh, the sassy one, the newspaper writer?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she's like 100. So then she was like 87 or something, or I don't know.
A young woman.
Yes. But I just remember we were doing like bumper cars, and she was sitting with me, and she'd get mad at me if I hit anyone, and she'd get mad at the people who hit us. I remember like driving, and then she'd turn around and yell, "Hey, that is not nice!" And I'm like, "But the bumper car—that's what you're supposed to do." And like all the kids are like scared because she's yelling at me. I was like, "What are we?" She's like, "You drive around nicely." I'm like, "All right."
Grandma's like driving slow in the fast lane of the bumper cars, and she's just like, always indicate.
It's like the one time ever in like bumper car history, like everyone just drove in a circle.
It's the one time ever where old people don't hit into other cars.
Well, it's comforting to know that they realize that it's wrong and they shouldn't be doing it at least.
They're like, this isn't the highway. We shouldn't be hitting other cars.
This isn't a parking lot.
Yeah, this isn't a parking lot. Yeah.
Yeah, I always worry about that, about like getting older and not realizing you make that turn and that you can't drive anymore or that you can't see as well as you think you can. Because I feel like all of that.
It's gradual.
Right. It's super gradual. It's not like a bam, you shouldn't be doing this anymore. It's just like, yeah, maybe not, then definitely not.
You read about that kid who he was driving with his grandma or his great grandma, and she had a minor heart attack behind the wheel while they're on the highway, and so he steered them into a ditch and slowed the car down. The kid's like 9 or something like that,
Fuck.
and he basically steered the car and it slowed down. Her foot fell off the gas or whatever and stuff like that, and came to a stop. and he said that he learned how to do it from Mario Kart. He's like, that's where I knew how to do this and whatever. And yeah,
She's like having a heart attack. She's like, I'm just gonna lean back.
yeah, I'm just
Keep my foot on the pedal.
just steer and I'll shift later. Don't hit any other cars. Yeah, that's no. When do you know that you're too old to?
It got to the point where my granddad was getting so old that we had to take his keys away from him because we didn't want him driving anymore. And this dude's like a World War II veteran. He didn't put up with shit. So I remember him fighting with my uncle Fred. He was like the oldest of the brothers, and he had taken his keys. He's like, "Come on, just give me the keys, Fred. Come on." And he's like, "No, Dad. You can't drive." This is like, I don't know, back in the 90s or something. He's like, just go ahead and fax them to me. He didn't understand how fax machines work. Fax me the keys, goddammit. I want to drive.
You should have faxed the keys, and it comes out. It's like, what? I made a wrong choice. Man.
Oh,
It's funny when you understand
Oscar.
how technology works. I was dealing with, speaking of keys and cars, that reminded me, I was dealing with this problem where my father-in-law has a car, and he was parked at the grocery store a couple days ago, and someone tried to break into his car, not by smashing the window, but by trying to pick the lock or something.
Is it an old car?
No, it's it's like an 03.
Okay.
But
That asshole.
you could see like around the lock, like it's all fucked up, like the metal's all bent, and like so his key doesn't open the door anymore because someone like just really fucked up the lock, like they didn't get in, and his key doesn't open it, and he had to call the locksmith, and I was like, all right, I was like, just bring the car up, I'll help you take it to a place, and we'll have the lock swapped out. So then he starts, we don't think anything else about it, but then what we don't realize is the gas tank won't open because the locks are broken. Because since his driver's side door is jammed, the lock is jammed, the automatic locks don't open anymore. Like they can't function. And since he can't unlock the doors, the gas tank won't unlock either. He's like, I don't know if I have enough gas to get to Austin. So like I had to have him like drive up and then like follow him to a place to take the car. Like I was like, if you run out of gas, just pull over immediately, and then we can get in my car, and then we'll figure out what we're gonna do. But he made it. It was like coasting on fumes. It was like the most nerve-wracking
That's
thing
awful.
ever. Like I hope we make it. And it's like, because some fucking asshole decided to like, I don't know, stick a screwdriver in his car door.
People
lock.
who can pick locks are dangerous. My brother Lynn is like, he knows how to pick locks, and he has his kit and all this stuff like that. And he'll just, especially when I had my old car, he'd pick the lock to it, drive it around, and move it somewhere else. And I'd come back to my apartment and be like, holy shit, my car is stolen. And then I'd get this message from Lynn, and he'd be like, missing something? I'm like, you motherfucker. But he could get into anywhere, like my apartment and all sorts of stuff like that. He's extremely dangerous.
That's the one thing I am scared about moving into you guys' apartment.
Lynn is going to fuck your world
Lynn,
up.
I like Lynn. Lynn and I get along
Yeah.
well, though.
Yeah, this is my little brother.
Lynn is fucking hilarious. I love hanging out with
Yeah,
Lynn. But yeah, I am afraid that he will fuck with me, though.
He will gain entry.
Have you told the story about whenever you got a call from your apartment complex and they couldn't get a hold of you?
I can't.
I think
Did
you
I
have told that one.
on the podcast?
Yeah, it was the one with.
Yeah, I did. I told about how Lynn said I was in
In
prison. Yeah, it's that kind of stuff.
Lynn's a little shit,
Yeah,
man.
you just can't trust him, especially when he has the tools to get into everything.
When I was in college, one of the guys in my college was like that. He loved picking locks. It must be like there must be some people who are just really into that. And
Yeah.
he was, he always carried like a lock pick set with him, and he always wore a black trench coat and like a fedora.
Jesus.
What?
And this was down in Houston. This was back when Astroworld and Waterworld were still open, and like my college had rented out Waterworld for the night one night. It's like, all right, we're gonna go, and for like 4 hours or whatever, Waterworld is just for you guys.
Kevin Costner there?
And no, he was not. And that dude went with us, and everyone else is wearing swim trunks and stuff to get wet. He showed up in that fucking and that fedora with his set of lockpicks, and like so everyone's going into the front door, and then as we're going in, like security's like, you stop, and they've got like a piece of paper, and this is his face on the paper, like, you can't come in here. He'd been kicked out of Astroworld so many times for picking locks and getting access to places he shouldn't be that they had a piece of paper with his face
Holy
to make sure
shit.
he didn't get in.
It's kind of cool, actually.
Yeah.
To be that level of like,
What do you get into it at when Astroworld was around?
Still the prizes.
Well, I guess the prizes, but also like the little trees or the secret
employee
little
access areas.
Yeah, the access areas. I guess you could do that, but but it sucks. It sucks at Astro. I guess it's just the thrill.
Yeah,
of
I
picking a
think he
lock or
just.
something.
Yeah, it's something that you're forbidden from entering,
Right.
and it's just like I want to go in there and see.
Yeah.
I've never stolen. Like I don't steal, but we were having a shoot in college at a carnival or something like that. It was in Dripping Springs, I think, and I was like packing down set, and I was pissed off because it wasn't even my shoot, but I was there, the last one there, breaking down set, and I had watched like fucking 10 kids walk up to like a carnival game and then just take a prize, and I was like, those things are like worth what, 5 cents? And I was talking to a girl at the time. I was like, wouldn't it be funny if I just like took something? So I packed everything into my car, look around, no one's there. Pitch black, they turn off all the lights. I take this stupid Despicable Me, like giant yellow ugly thing, and as soon as I grabbed it, there was like 2 people that were like 100 yards away. They're like, you put that down. I was like, fuck, like how did they catch me? So I immediately started running with it, and I was like, am I really gonna get arrested over this goddamn Despicable Me thing? So I like threw it behind me, hopped over a fence, just started running, and then it was like I was like in the Bourne Identity. I was like going through a crowd, like oh, I'm gonna get away, just for a fucking Despicable Me stuffed animal.
Wow. They're like shooting at you.
Get on the ground!
Get on the ground.
Sorry.
Life of crime's not worth it, Blaine. Zane. I'm fucked up. Called it the wrong name.
Oh.
Yeah. So don't steal, kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever stolen anything. I think when I was a kid, like in a stroller, I grabbed a stuffed animal, and my mom accidentally like pushed me out with it, then made me like go back and
Apologize.
and
or
give it to
something?
the store. Like I was too young. Like I didn't know. It's like I just grabbed something, and we just had to go back and give it back. But I think that's like the extent of it. I'm not a hardened criminal like Zane Gibson.
Right.
Yeah.
I
Watch out.
I was reading something about a woman who was trying to teach her kids about right and wrong because the kids stole. This was in New York, I think. The kids stole something from a store, and she had him. They took it back or whatever and stuff like that. And then she called the police and said, "Hey, can you send an officer down to talk to my son about right and wrong and stuff like that?" And they're like, "Yeah, absolutely, ma'am." So they show up to her house and they start talking to the kid, and they're whatever, blah blah blah, and the 3 officers were cool. One of the officers was like, "This is bullshit. He's a thief," and and the kid's like 12 or whatever. And so anyway, while the cops are being nice to the kid and teaching him about right and wrong, the other cop's like, "You're a bad mother, and blah blah blah."
What?
And then they end up arresting the mother. Like
my
after,
God.
yeah, it was
What?
It was crazy. They arrest the mother. The other cops didn't want to, but the one cop did. They arrest her for child neglect or whatever the case was.
So then
And-
they left the 12-year-old alone.
no, the 12-year-old or
They arrested
kid
him
went
too.
to CPS, Child Protection
Oh,
Services, and it was a
Jesus.
whole fucking thing. Like she
Wow.
called the cops to teach him or her about right and wrong.
Well, I'm
And-
sure that kid
She learned a lesson.
great
Yeah.
lesson. Yeah.
God, good
So-
cop, asshole cop.
You telling the story reminded me about a story you told on a previous podcast. You talked about the guy who tweeted about like
The
hacking
flight.
a plane.
Yeah, yeah.
Have you followed that anymore? Heard any of the further details
I
about
think
that?
he got shaken down a little bit and a wag of the finger and stuff. But the thing is he's a tech industry dude. He actually does consulting for airlines and stuff like that. So after giving him some grief, they're like, "Don't do that again." And I think he was intimidated into learning his lesson. But he didn't go to jail.
A
or
couple days
anything.
ago, he got arrested.
No
What?
shit.
Whoa.
They realized that on that on flights, he actually was hacking into planes and issuing commands to the plane from
No.
from the cabin.
A week ago, I checked on it and
It was
nothing
like
had
2
happened.
days ago.
Holy shit!
What?
Yeah,
like,
like-
what kind of things does he access?
Apparently, what I read was that they went to his seat and they saw that under the seat in front of him that the access cover was removed, and that under his seat the access cover was removed, and that he used a modified Ethernet cable to plug into the in-flight entertainment system, hacked it, bypassed it, and was able to issue climb commands to the
No
onboard
shit.
computer in the cockpit, and that his plane started climbing as a result of it.
Gee, what a
What was he
prick.
trying to do?
Yeah.
Prove
He
a
was trying to do
point.
that, like prove that you
Yeah.
can hack into the plane.
Who were those people that were tweeting me being like, "You can't get into a plane for well through the wireless"? I understand, but that
Yeah, he
man,
absolutely did.
That's fucked.
Yeah, so I mean, it's and on one hand, it's shitty. He shouldn't be doing that.
No.
Right.
But on the other hand, it's like I'm glad that this is now kind of out there, so that airplane
Absolutely.
manufacturers and airlines know that you need to secure that,
Yeah.
so that no one does anything malicious with that kind of access.
Here's the thing: was he doing that on commercial flights with passengers?
It was commercial flights with passengers that he was on.
That's pretty fucked
Yeah,
because
he deserves to get arrested.
who knows? Like, I mean,
What if you
know,
crash the computer?
What
or-
if the computer freaked out or whatever the case is? I mean, you shouldn't do that with other people on board. Like, I'm all for vulnerability testing and all that stuff like that, but that's pretty screwed.
I'll see if I can look up the article and send it to you.
Yeah, I want to.
I'll send it to Mariel for the link them too.
Gus and I love airline disasters and airline stuff.
Any more banana
There's
beer?
no more banana beer.
There's
We
mine.
finished them all. You can finish your planes. But it's time to wrap up
Yeah.
anyway.
Uh,
So I want to thank everyone for watching. I hope you all had a good Memorial Day, and we'll see you guys next Monday with another episode of the RT Podcast.
Bye. Happy Memorial Day.
I like that.